Hey everyone, Creatively Cara here, and my channel is all about taking you along on my creative journey with me. Today we're going to be setting up the month of June in my bullet journal, and I will be sharing with you how I set this up in a regular notebook, but I'm also going to share with you how this then looks in my digital bullet journal. Yes, as many of you may know, I am switching over to a digital bullet journal. I have done it for the last month in May. I think I love it. I will definitely be making a follow-up video in the next couple weeks here, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, it's so much more convenient for me, and so I want to be able to share with you how I'm able to basically translate my ideas from pen and paper to then the digital format. And honestly, it translates so well. So I cannot wait to share this with you as well here. Now, if you are interested in learning more about my digital bullet journal, or maybe even just seeing how I set it up compared to the typical pen and paper style, let me know in the comments below, because I honestly wouldn't mind making 2 plan with me videos if it's something you'd want to see, how I kind of then replicate that into the digital format. Just kind of, I'm just interested to see what your thoughts are on that. Now, the theme for June is going to be Fireflies, and you all helped me choose that, so thank you. I ended up posting a video a week or so ago with summer theme ideas. There were 4 different ones to choose from. Honestly, like the Fireflies one was one of my top, and I also really liked the Volkswagen with daisies. I'm probably gonna have to do that one in maybe July or August, so I'm really excited to do the Fireflies. The colors are amazing, and I think the Fireflies are so cute. Honestly, they're super easy to make too. I just use Crayola Super Tips here with my Aquash pen brush and my Papermate Flare. Those are like the main tools I'm using here today, and I will link to all of those in the description box down below as well. And then I just use my sandwich bag technique for the watercolor, where you just kind of color on the sandwich bag and then put water on the paper. Not too much, you don't need too much. And then you kind of just smear it around the page and let it kind of blend, and it gives this beautiful effect. Now, I was a little sad because I couldn't quite get this effect in my digital bullet journal, but I made do with what I could. I did want to include a quote page here this time around. So it says, "Hope is being able to see that there is light despite all of the darkness." I think that's very relevant with what's going on right now. I live in Michigan, so we are still under a stay-at-home order. It's just a dark time in general, and so I think that remembering that there's light, that we can get through this, and we will get through this together. I really love how that page turned out, and here is what it looks like in my digital bullet journal. Obviously, there's things that look a little bit different, but you can definitely see the similarity between the two. I was playing around with the watercolor a little bit. You can see I kind of have 2 different styles on each of the pages here. I played around with a couple different brushes, but overall, I really like how this still turned out in my digital bullet journal. And now I created all of these spreads in Procreate. Once I'm done drawing them out, I hide the background and export it as a PNG, then insert it as an image. That's the basic format of how I'm doing this right now. Now, other people will sometimes use stickers to fill in their bullet journal. I did that last month, but honestly, it was so much more enjoyable for me to do everything in Procreate this time around and then bring it over. It made a big difference in just the feel of creating that digital bullet journal. It made it feel like it was a normal journal. And that's why I feel like I could probably just record me doing my digital journal and you guys still being able to bounce ideas off of that for your pen and paper notebook. Back to the next spread here. We are creating the calendar, and I had this idea in my head where I wanted to create watercolor behind the calendar boxes. Now, this is difficult to do on actual pen and paper and way easier to do on the digital side, but when it came to the pen and paper, I just used some painter's tape, my squares on here. I got lazy and did not do all of them. I was just trying to do like a sweep of watercolor. So some of the boxes did get watercolor in it, but and just pulled those off, and it revealed something so beautiful. I went back through and I ended up outlining the boxes so that you could obviously see them a little bit better. Now, I did use a little bit too much water on the front cover page. You can see that the yellow and black seep through a little bit, mostly because I don't think I waited for it to dry. So just be careful about how much water you're using when it comes to the watercolor. Again, you really don't need too much in there to make it work, but the notebook I'm using here it's called a Vivid Scribbles. Again, I'll link to my items down below. I think it's 120 GSM, so the paper is pretty thick and can handle a good amount of water. There sometimes is still a little bit of warping, but the warping never bothers me. I did end up using one of my Pentel brush pens to do my lettering. I just did a little simple kind of cursive here, and I added a little dark blue for a drop shadow on those. I could go back through and maybe add drop shadows to the calendar boxes. I didn't do that, but I feel like I could. Now, when I do create the fireflies, you can see it's a quite easy process. I start with the yellow Crayola Super Tip. I add a little bit of the water in there to then blend out the yellow so it kind of looks like it's more glowing. And then once that dries up, I'll go back in and I will add in a little black circle with 2 wings. And I use a darker yellow to kind of make the body of the firefly. Super simple, but it turns out so beautiful. So I'm going to show you real quick the calendar on my iPad and how that ended up turning out. This was a lot of fun to recreate digitally. I was able to add a little bit more watercolor and really get the calendar boxes to just be white. So I really enjoy how this one turned out. And then I added my growth tracker to the bottom so I can just kind of track my subscriber and follower count down there as well. Now we're going to be setting up a mood tracker. I am finally doing something different. I've done the same trackers for the last 5 months, and I'm going to go back to doing a doodle mood tracker. I went with lanterns here, and I give a little example at the top there where we're gonna be drawing out a firefly in each lantern, and then the glow, the color of the firefly will then depict the mood of the day. So that's how this will end up looking out. I basically did 2 rows of 7 and then 2 rows of 8 to get me to my 30 lanterns. I did throw blue in there, but you'll see in a moment on my iPad that I ended up just using all yellows. So it really depends on what you want to use here, but you can change that up a little bit. So again, on the mood tracker here, just using the same header, but this will be a very nice and simple tracker to do. With that, I needed to add in my habit tracker as well, which has been going much better for me. I still have days where I forget to fill it out, but I've been working on really reserving time to myself to be able to sit down and just journal or fill out my bullet journal throughout the day. In the morning and at night is when I typically do it. So I'm really happy that the digital bullet journal has been working out for me. Again, I'll be making a video to explain more of how all of that's been going later on, but overall, really happy with it. And I thought for the habits this time around, I would just use those little calendar boxes. They're so cute and work so well. And the June calendar, at least I have Monday start, so it's a super simple box, 5 rows, and the bottom row only has 2 boxes. So this calendar is pretty easy to do. And then just what I track is very simple. Main things I like to track, but I might add a special thing to track each week as well as I'm working on setting better habits too. Now I felt like this page needed just a little bit more, so I added in some fireflies here just to fill in that space a little bit, and it looks perfect. Now, when it came to these spreads in my digital bullet journal, honestly, the mood tracker was really easy because I basically created one line of mason jars and then duplicated it. So hey, that is a bonus to digital journaling, is you can just copy and paste things. So that's amazing. So that was pretty easy for me to fill out. And again, you can kind of see here, I ended up waiting to do the colors until I brought that into GoodNotes so that I could make sure I have the colors that I'll be using in GoodNotes the entire time. Now, on the habit side, I only added 2 fireflies here. Now I kind of feel like I don't have enough compared to the one I did in paper and pen, but I added more watercolor to this one, kind of similar to the calendar. So it's just kind of the way it balanced out. I feel like we'll get some more color in here once the mood tracker side fills up, but overall, I love this and I cannot wait to use it. This will be the last spread I make in the pen and paper style, which is the first weekly spread. Honestly, I ended up interpreting this a little bit differently in the digital format, so I will share that with you in a moment, but I just kind of wanted to have 3 horizontal spaces for the weeklies, and I added a little bit of the blue watercolor to the middle, kind of hoping it would be almost this like circular like middle piece, but I don't know. The blue was so just like blah by itself when I made this, so I wasn't like super happy with how that turned out, and is why I decided to do something a little bit different in my digital side. But I added a little bit of Firefly here for the end trail of each letter. And I still like to add the number for the day of the week, so I just added a little bit of yellow circles and then wrote the number inside of those, and I thought that turned out pretty cute. So here is what I then did in my digital journal, and I like it so much more. I used a little bit of a different watercolor technique here, more of kind of this splatter with it blended together, and I really love that background. I think I turned the opacity down a little bit as well, and then I was able to fully go over it. So instead of trying to create this like middle watercolor piece, I just made the watercolor the background, and I think this turned out really well, and it's still something that you could definitely replicate in your notebook if you want to do something like this with the sandwich bag and Crayola markers. Instead of doing the middle piece, just kind of put it on the sides and maybe use some lighter blues if you don't want it to end up being so dark. Now here is a flip through of the regular notebook just so you can see all of those pages together. And now I'm going to show you a flip through of my digital journal so you can see that as well, because I do have a couple extra pages in here. I'm doing a check-in, kind of like little journaling things I do each month, but I also have some doodle challenges so I can encourage myself to draw every day, and then my Creatively Cara page as well here, where I'm just going to be able to write down my video ideas, kind of track some of my Instagram post ideas, and then what videos I'm actually creating for June. So if you have any suggestions for videos, let me know in the comments below. I would be happy to hear your thoughts on what you'd like to see. And last but not least, that weekly spread. So thank you all so much for taking the time to watch my video today. I hope you enjoyed what you saw. If you did, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. Until next time, bye-bye.